Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to our Fireside chat. It's a great pleasure to have with us Cathryn Chen, who is the CEO and the founder of MarketX. MarketX is an investment platform which is connecting global investors with pre-IPO investments. Welcome, Cathryn. It's an absolute delight to be talking to you today. We're really looking forward to hearing all about MarketX. So please take it away. I don't know if we can have a look at the platform, and please tell us how you got started.
Yes, definitely. Thanks, Samantha, for having me. I'm Cathryn, founder and CEO of MarketX. We're a global investment platform for family offices, institutionals, high net worth individuals to invest in the latest high growth pre-IPO companies. So far, we have executed over 100 million in transactions, over 200 something companies. And now we have clients in US, China, Southeast Asia, Europe, and some in Africa. So I'm very excited to be here, and thanks for having me. To get started, we actually, a little bit about my background. I started as an investment banker at JP Morgan. Before I worked at Rothschild in London, and I moved to Hong Kong and eventually settled in Asia. When I started, I didn't know much about finance. Coming back from a background, my parents are doctors. They rarely have access to financial education. So growing up, I remember there were always this insight and excitement about venture capital, which I didn't understand. But after moving to San Francisco, here I am, I was very excited to learn about what people do when it comes to investment in the private market. So as we, fast forward to 2015, at the time I already, spent some time in investment banking. Also joined a very early stage startup called Everstream as a third employee. I got to see the building phase from 0 to 1. And during that time, I realized a lot of people were stuck with their equity, because the company takes 7 to 10 years to go IPO. So as the employee who holds my own equity as well, I was trying to find a way to actually exit before the IPO. So that's when I realized you can actually build a pre-IPO platform between, employees, shareholders, existing VCs who have invested, and a large group of people who didn't even know this asset class existed. So with all things in finance, we've seen tectonic shifts from people going, fiat currency to crypto. Right now, everybody know about cryptocurrency. I think this is one of the last secrets of finance where people didn't know you can actually invest in companies basically pre-IPO during the time they actually experience the highest growth. So that's how we got started. In 2015, I raised a couple $1 million from 12 Chinese billionaires. Then we launched the platform, and today we have about 300 family offices and over 140,000 shareholders on our platform.
Great. Well, that sounds absolutely wonderful, Cathryn. So yes, if you're able to show us just how the platform looks, it will be also wonderful.
Great. Please let me know if you're able to see my screen.
Fantastic. Yes. We can see your screen.
Awesome. Great. So as you can see here, MarketX today is a platform for growth stage and pre-IPO private tech companies. We have done so far investments in Airbnb, Flexport, Impossible, just to name a few. And we work with quite a large of companies in Silicon Valley, China, Southeast Asia, UAE, and hopefully we can increase our presence in Africa. As of today, we do have some access to, for example, Flutterwave, which is a fintech company in Africa. Granted, this company is very close to Silicon Valley, so we're definitely looking to expand our coverage of all the companies around the world. And as you can see, we also help investors to invest with lower minimums. So today, most of the investors in this market are generally millionaires or billionaires with a minimum of 5 to 10 million blocks. However, we're reducing the minimum to just $50,000. If people wanted to invest, they can come to our platform, invite your friends over WhatsApp, WeChat, Line, etc., and we can help smaller investors also getting in some of these best deals on the private market. In addition, we also launched MarketX Black, which is also exclusive membership only platform that allows people to reach out to all the worldly advisors who can also help you understand what is going on in the pre-IPO market. So as of today, you can see here, we have, for example, Esther, who's based out of Singapore, who's an advisor. You can reach out to her and find out what's going on, for example, with Stripe, what's going on with Airbnb. We help connect all the advisors, RAs, with the investors so they can get a proprietary research and advisory services on our platform. So how does MarketX actually help you? So on one hand, we help accredited investors, institutional family offices, and financial advisors to look at the deals. To give you an example, here, Mr. William Lau, he is a family office based in Hong Kong. End of last year, we started looking at this company called TikTok. You probably have heard a lot about it. So the parent company, ByteDance, initially, the first time we looked at it in 2018 was valued at $45 billion. Today, the company is valued over $200 billion. We were able to invest in this business. We actually invested $40 million at $68 billion valuation, just to give you a sense. And as you can see, in less than a year, we have already enjoyed, 2.5 to 3x return, given, the latest private market valuation. So what we do is find these really hard to access opportunities for investment and connect them with the right investors. This is how we got started, but in the future, we look to work with everybody out there who wants to participate in the private tech world. So all in all, you can see here, we're investment management platform. We also have an investment managed fund called MX50, which allows people to invest in a basket approach. In this case, you can think of us as an index fund for private IPO companies before they go IPO. That's already in US, China, Southeast Asia. And like I mentioned, we would love to go international very soon. Great. So that's a little bit demo about our platform.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Cathryn, for sharing that with us. I was just wondering about how things have been moving forward this year, because obviously the COVID pandemic has changed a huge amount of patterns of behavior, let's say, in the investment community. How do you see the appetite for alternative investments among family offices and the ultra high net worth individuals, particularly for using technological platforms? Is that something where you've seen a different type of appetite, or you've seen different trends over the course of this year in particular? Tell us a bit about what you're seeing.
Sure, definitely. I think this year has been, definitely, to say the least, very, tumultuous and in many ways life-changing. We have seen a lot of changes from the way our investors interact with us. To give you an example, last year I was on a plane about 200 days a year. Most people sees, my status update. London. Basically, I go from London to Dubai, Dubai to Singapore, sometimes stop by Shanghai, Beijing, and along the way, maybe go to Europe, other cities as well. So that required a lot of in-person meetings, as you can imagine. However, given this year's restriction, as a US citizen, of course, I cannot travel to as many places as I like to meet our clients. Instead, everyone's very active on Zoom, as you can imagine. On top of that, I think there's a large, demand for international interaction. So for what we do, we actually arrange these webinars that allows people to go on Zoom. And every week we look at a very exciting, pre-IPO opportunity. To give you an example, we have now invited the CEO of Triller, which is a competitor to TikTok. We also have invited the CFO of a Stack Overflow, Epic Games. We've now covered, some of the best and high growth fintech companies like Stripe, Revolut, to give you an example. These are all the live opportunities on our platform. But what we do is also connect our investors with each other so they can share their investment thesis with each other before making the investment. So that's something we noticed. Our platform has become much more active online, given the fact that people are unable to travel everywhere and go to these conferences in person. So the online experience becomes more and more important. And we decided to actually invest more in the technology development of our platform instead of, generally we're hosting a lot of offline events. So that's one thing. Secondly, I think due to COVID, you can see that investments are done differently, right? Before, you have a lot of focus on what are the highest growth areas. Today, people do start a lot of time working on what are the companies that are doing especially well during COVID. So to give you an example, one of the business we looked at is called Miss Fresh in China. So my fellow analyst classmate from Deutsche Bank is now the CFO. Just so it happens, we were looking at this business right before COVID. It's an online grocery delivery app. So you can think about in the US, Blue Apron, or you can actually go shop on We, which is an Asian grocery delivery service. They will experience 100-fold growth during this time, as you can imagine in China. One of the best, examples they gave me was that typically grandmas, who likes to go to an actual, market to shop for food, typically they would not be on an app shopping for, what are we having for dinner? However, during COVID, nobody can move. So, their grandkids are teaching the grandparents how to use this app. And once, even though the, COVID is over in China now, everyone's back to normal life, they actually still use the app because once the habit is formed, it's here to stay. So we were able and very fortunate to have an opportunity to invest Miss Fresh and grow with this company. So that's something I feel, this is a very big change during COVID, and, some habits, once it's formed, is never going to go away. So that's another, big change that we notice when investors are looking at potential opportunities. They are now, thinking very acutely about what has COVID impacted our world and what are some new habits people have formed during this time.
Great. Well, let's move on to the topic of Africa and also opportunities on the continent, because I mean, you're coming from a background where you're very familiar with the US, where you are currently, and also China, where you've been working, when you have clients and so on. So tell us a bit how the African opportunity. I mean, although it's obviously like 54 different markets, all at different stages of development. I mean, from your perspective on the investment platform, I mean, how do you see the African opportunities available from some of the people you're dealing with? And are there any particular trends you're seeing there?
Definitely. So just to give you a little example about how this all started. So when I was a student in college, actually my senior thesis for my degree, international relations, was on China, Afrique. So I actually spent quite a bit of time researching the development and, always been very intrigued by this continent and all these countries that obviously geopolitics has affected a lot of things. And one of the things that I, always was interested was how can we help, many of the investors get access to international opportunities, right? Not a lot of people have access to this world. And, quite a bit of investors always ask me, what do you think about this? So very similarly, some people think about China. It's like an unknown world. Most people have no idea. They feel nervous when they think about investment. So one of the things that we try to do is obviously getting a lot of the investors who have an interest in investing in this part of the world to really talk with local entrepreneurs, working with, for example, lawyers, bankers who are very active in this area, in this region. Recently, we looked at some payment businesses. I know that Stripe founders and also Jack Dorsey have been spending a lot of time in this part of the region. So Fintech is definitely very, very exciting for us. As I mentioned, we looked at Flutterwave when they were, a seed company. In addition, we actually have a lot of investors who spend many years, actually their parents, grandparents moved to Africa from China. So today we have a client who actually runs a $100 million fund that's actually out of Africa, but they are ethnically Chinese. So that's also something we noticed that's very interesting. They're the ones that are bridging a lot of the largest investments between China and Africa. So that's an area, we slowly got, roped in. Oh, there's a deal that, works on this part of the world. However, we can actually spend a lot of time recruiting talents, also capital from China to invest in Africa. So that's the reason why I'm super excited about this region and, meeting very game changers like, so many of these individuals are coming out and trying to bring all this new technology, talents, injection in, therefore to create value, create innovation in Africa. So that's something I hope I can play a small part of, going forward.
Great. So, well, I think we've probably only got about 1 or 2 minutes left. So my last question would be that, you're someone that's very passionate about fintech, and there's clearly a huge amount going on the continent of Africa. So I'm just thinking, how do you see the fintech opportunity in Africa? I mean, it's like full of young people with bright ideas. I mean, do you personally see that fintech is the future of Africa? What's your view on that?
I'm definitely 100%, interested and also believe in fintech in Africa. I think fintech is one of those things that honestly the biggest innovation in our century. To give you an example, we started looking at in fintech in Indonesia, which, a couple years ago, there was nothing there. So in 2017, I went to Jakarta and also noticed, there are businesses that really transform society from the ground up. To give you a sense, Gojek probably started their fintech business, which is allowing people to actually have Gojek wallet. Basically the country has 3% credit card penetration rate. So I think the similar type of transformation will happen, right? You will have the Stripe of Africa, you will have the payment walls, you will have a lot of the same investment management businesses that are growing. As of today, we do have investors from this region who are investing with us. I'm personally surprised how did they find us, but today information is so fluent, you can go online and learn everything on your own. So we very, very much welcome investors around the region to come to our platform, learn about the latest opportunity, also bring us the best fintech opportunities. We would love to serve as a conduit to help international investors also inject capital in this region. So please let me know if you have great ideas. We'd love to work with you.
That's great. Well, thank you so much, Cathryn. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm afraid our time is already up, but it's been a delight talking to you. It's been so interesting to hear about your platform and your perspectives. So thank you so much again for joining us. And thank you to all of our participants in this session. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Love to learn more about Africa. So thank you. And please visit us at marketxventures.com.
Will do. Thank you, Cathryn.
Thank
Bye
you.
now. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.